Hi guys, and thank you for tuning back into my channel, um, Thriving with Codependency. I know I haven't posted in a while, and I've had just a lot of personal stuff going on, and sometimes I just have to go inside myself. I'm introvert and a empath as well as being codependent, which I think a lot of us are. I just was struggling a lot lately with, like on Mother's Day, for example, a mutual friend of my ex, narcissistic ex, messaged me and said that he wanted to tell me Happy Mother's Day, my ex did, and that, he loved me and my daughter, and hearing messages like that really halts my recovery because as much as I would love to say that I'm completely over everything that happened, I don't think any person that really loved another person gets over them so easily. So although I'm not convinced of his love for me, because I think I was more of a tool for him, that doesn't negate the fact that I really loved him. And, that's something that I've gotten help with in therapy, that I can't feel guilty for the fact that I'm a loving human being who, loves as God intended us to love, wholeheartedly and with everything we have. But when you're dealing with a narcissist, they pick out people with those qualities that are loving, that do have a strong moral code, and they mimic it very well. So it's only natural that, if you're a good partner, you want to invest and help your partner when they're down and out, which in time you come to find out that your narcissistic partner is down and out all the time in life because of the way they operate and use people, and it never lasts forever. So they're always in perpetual cycle of trying to get to the top, and then they mess it up, and then they have to start all over from ground zero. Excuse me. It was 1 in the morning. So, I did really love this person, and I still struggle with the fact that I love still the illusion, admitting that we didn't have what we believed we had for whatever significant amount of time that is. For me, it was about 2 years. That's difficult because I would have laid my life down for a person that was willing to destroy mine, and that's a really hard pill to swallow. I don't know, it's something that I wish, I could tell you, how to overcome missing this person, but, that's what the love bombing stage was about, was making you dependent and making you crave that love that you would assume a person wouldn't be able to fake, that level of, dedication and passion. But most of us, if we look back, most of that love bombing was lip service. They didn't actually really do anything, at least in my case and in most of my friends and clients' cases. They didn't actually really do anything. It was just about, making a woman, most of my clients and friends are women, making them feel special. That's a big thing for women, And then just the time. So, my ex would want to see me pretty much every day, and we talk and text all the time, and I was under the assumption that that meant something, although he was cheating on me even in the very beginning. The normal signs, of a person not being interested or having someone else, like, they don't have those. They will invest large amounts of energy into you, even if they have multiple supplies. In the past, if a guy was kind of like a player or whatever, I pretty much had a good indication, they would go missing for long periods of time, or only answer your calls on certain days, or weird stuff like that. And, my narcissistic ex did occasionally do those things, but it was always accompanied by, like, some crazy story, like, he left his phone at work for 3 days, or it was stolen, or, stuff like that. And it wasn't on a super regular basis, so I guess it was a little bit more believable for me. So I recently found out that my ex had been seeing someone, most likely since he left for rehab back in January, after I found out about all the infidelity, and after he had held me hostage for 2 days and abused me. So he was telling family and friends that, he was single and he loved me and our daughter, and actually got a tattoo of her name on his arm, and he sent that to his mom because I have a restraining order, so he can't speak to me directly, but he sent it to his mom and our mutual friend, basically like showing how much he missed his daughter, and it was supposed to be like some message to me about his commitment or love for us or whatever. And his family pointed out to me, like, that was money that could have gone towards his daughter, and I thought, yeah, that's true. And on top of that, I come to find out he didn't even purchase it for himself. And then as the more time goes on, most likely the woman he's been seeing bought it for him. So I can only imagine the version of reality that she's getting. But, I was that naive once too. And narcissists are really good. I made a post recently saying that a narcissist can convince a professor of calculus, that 1 + 1 is 17. So I can't totally blame her for believing his lies, because it's like his lies are so crazy that you would think no one would lie about that. And that's actually a tactic of a sociopath and a narcissist. They do tell extremely outlandish stories so that people don't even question it, because they think no one would say something that crazy if it wasn't true. So, recently I came to find out that all this time that he was saying he was single and working on himself, and, having his friends send me messages about missing us and working on himself and doing the best he can and blah, 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 blah. It was all a lie again. And, it doesn't surprise me, but it's difficult, because when these people would tell me, like, he's single, he loves you, he misses you, or whatever, I came off looking like the evil bitch, because I was like, nope, I've heard it before. He said all this when we were engaged, and, they would be like, wow, you're really bitter. They wouldn't say that, but I could, oh, excuse me, I could sense it, that they thought that. So, come to find out, my intuition was right once again, that he has had someone the entire time. And, stuff like that hurts. I get mad at myself, because I wonder, like, how much more can this person hurt me? Like, what can he possibly do that he hasn't already done? And every time he does something, it's like, yep, there's still pain. And I wish I could tell you guys that there's a way to speed through it, but just like with a wound, you know, it just takes time. And you just got to keep pouring into yourself and surround yourself by people that love you back and are genuine, and you know, choose people that are not just providing lip service, but you can, you know, they make the effort to be there for you and love you and support you. And you know, that's how I can tell now in my life who I went around, because so many people will be like, well, it's been, you know, 6 months, like, aren't you over it yet? Or until someone has undergone like serious psychological abuse by somebody, which in my case the worst part was that he had me thoroughly convinced that he loved me. And so I let a lot slide. I trusted him over my intuition a lot. And it'd be different if, you know, he kind of like treated me like I was just a girlfriend or whatever. But, you know, when someone's telling you on a daily basis that you're soulmates and they can't live without you and they would never hurt you, yet they're cheating and lying and, you know, doing drugs and jeopardizing, you know, he was jeopardizing my family with my children, you know, things that he would promise he would never do, and then to come to find out like all of that was a lie. You know, it's difficult. And not even just our relationship, but his whole history that he had told me was a lie, like up into the fact of, you know, the dog that he told me he owned and would go home to his family's house and visit and tell me about. That dog didn't even exist. Like, when I met his family, none of the stories he had told me were true, or if they were true, like, they happened to someone else, or, you know, partial truths, like something that maybe happened years ago, or just wasn't nearly as dramatic or extravagant as he had made it seem. So, being with a narcissist and dealing with the gaslighting, which is, you know, where they attempt to make you feel crazy by saying things like, you know, you're paranoid, or just, you know, attacking your mental health, like, maybe you need to see a therapist or whatever, you know. And then when you start to try to see a therapist because you do start to think maybe it's me, then they don't want that either, because now there's someone from the outside looking in, giving you advice, letting you know that you're being manipulated and abused, and now they are worried about losing control over you. So it's really hard to recover from someone that really just turned your whole world upside down, your thinking. You know, I became extremely loyal to him because he told me that, you know, he was the only one that really cared about me or had my back. And, you know, he would say things like, where was your family in this instance, or where was this person? And, you know, I would believe him, and he would just promise me the world. So I slowly became more and more isolated from other people, and he was really good at judging all of his friends or other people, you know, that, oh, they cheat on their wife, or they do this or do that. And so I really believed I had this, like, great moral guy, and I knew that he had struggled with addiction in the past, but he would always lead me to believe that it was under control. And like, for example, the night that our daughter was conceived, like, we had just been intimate, and he told me how important it was for him to go to a meeting, kiss me goodbye, and, you know, he was going to get drugs. And I was thinking, like, you know, by me being like, yeah, you need to go, like, don't miss your meeting, you know, that I was supporting him. And, you know, I was being lied to then. And I spent, you know, the whole first day that I found out I was pregnant, I stayed up keeping him alive, because he was overdosing. So, it's a lot, and to never really know where you stand in your own head, that's torture. And when I left him, finally, like in the end of last year, beginning of this year, when I found out the truth about all the cheating, you know, I knew in my heart I was making the right decision. But just because we know something doesn't mean like our heart's feelings follow. So there's a lot of women I try to help that go right back to their abuser, and other friends of mine, or you know, people, their friends and family, get really mad at them. Excuse me. They get really mad at them, and they're like, you know, how could she go back to this person? And I tell you, like, the struggle is real. Like, it's not that we like being abused. It's that, you know, you invest so much time and energy into somebody that promises you change, and every little tiny bit of change that they have, you know, to you, it's like monumental, because they've wired you that way now to be like, the littlest effort is like the biggest thing, right? Like, you don't appreciate me, you don't realize that I've overcome this or I've overcome that. So you, being a loving person, are like, oh, you're right, you know, you have changed this or changed that. So you know, one of the things my ex used to say was like, do you love me? And I would say yes, and he would say promise, and I would say yes, and he would say, so you're never going to leave me. And luckily I was smart enough to tell him, you know, I can't promise you that, because I feel like you've been dishonest with me a lot in the past, and if, you know, you ever cheated on me, or now I found out something like that, I don't know if I could stay with you, but I will always love you, and I will always take care of our daughter, is what I would tell him. And it takes a lot of strength to leave a person that you really loved. It doesn't matter. I don't believe love is about what the other person can do for you. Love is a commitment that you make to yourself and to God and another human being. So when you choose to love someone, that's a choice. It's not just a feeling. That's how a narcissist loves, you know, they get a feeling or they get a benefit. It's like, oh, I love this person because they're getting something out of it. But someone that truly loves someone, you know, you're loving them in spite of their flaws. You're loving them in spite of the fact that they will, you know, hurt you in some way. And I don't mean that you should accept abuse, but I mean, everybody gets hurt in some way, you know, throughout the course of their relationship. So, you know, when you really love someone, it's gonna hurt. And I want to let you guys know that I understand that. And I've had so many people in Al-Anon and Coda be like, oh, you're so strong, we're so proud of you. And I do believe I'm strong, and I'm proud of myself also. But it's like they forget that just because I'm strong and just because I moved through the pain doesn't mean that it's not there. A lot of times people will have their own preconceived notion about like when you should be done with your healing, and no one else can tell you that. You're entitled to feel pain. You're entitled to hurt. You know, like when I found out my ex had been lying about being single this whole time, it wasn't quite so much that he was with someone else, because he cheated on me so much. I already knew that. It was just the fact that he was still telling people he loved me and missed me, and telling them to tell me he was single, because that showed me that he wants me to be alone. He wants me thinking that he's changing so that I'll open my heart up to him again. Yet he continues to do all the same things that he did in the first place to even break my heart. So that's so cruel and evil to me. I just can hardly stand it. That he knows how much I loved him and how good I was to him, yet he will still try to manipulate me and cause me pain. And that, I can't even fathom like how a person can be that cruel. So I guess my point of this video was to, one, tell you guys why I've been kind of missing in action, and two, that being strong does not mean you're not in pain, and being afraid being brave doesn't mean you're not afraid or in fear. It's just going through it anyway. And, I'm happy with where I live. I'm dating someone now, and he makes me really happy. He's extremely honest, which is something I haven't experienced in a long time. Whether I enjoy what he has to tell me or not, I have the freedom of choice in that relationship to decide whether I want to be in it or not. And what I really loved about him was he was one of the few people that respected me when I said, no, I'm not over it. Yes, I will tell my truth. Yes, I am still in pain. And I'm going to be honest about that. Like, if my pain makes you uncomfortable, then, that's not my problem. And so he was very patient with the fact that I was not ready to commit to another relationship. He was patient with the fact that I talked about my ex a lot, or dedicated time to go to Coda and Al-Anon and make these videos for you guys. I had to explain it to him, obviously, because it could be hurtful to somebody that doesn't understand, but my healing and recovery is got to be number one for me right now. And I was lucky enough to find someone that allowed me that and does allow me that. And nobody can tell you, nobody should tell you how long it's going to take you to heal. I've heard that question asked a lot. How long does it take to recover from narcissistic abuse, or when will I feel better? When will I? That's individual to every single person. With my first person that was narcissistic, and my ex-husband, it took me years to finally realize that nothing was ever going to change, and that he was never going to love me in a way that was meaningful. He might have been obsessed with me, and he might have wanted to own me and have me in his life always, which, I was young at the time, and I thought that meant he loved me, but that wasn't love, and it took me a long time to get there. Hoping it won't take me quite as long this time around to realize that that is not love. I do realize that it's just admitting it to yourself, letting the dream of what you thought you had die. That's the hardest part for me. Regardless of the fact that I'm really happy now, and I'm with someone that's very good at apologizing and admitting his faults, and allowing me to be me. There's still the pain of your family not working, or whatever it is that you guys are going through. That's just because you have one parent left when the other one dies doesn't mean that takes away the pain that one of your parents died. It's kind of the same thing. You might move on, you might get friends and get stronger, but it's okay that you're still going to be sad that that relationship ended. And you're human, and if you really love this person, everyone telling you get over it, you're better off. I even had one of his family members tell me that the new girl was taking my trash out for me. And, touche, yeah, it's true. He caused me nothing but heartache and pain. But that doesn't mean that I didn't really love him, regardless of if he loved me back or not. So, I hope this helps you guys. I know I'm not like my typical peppy self. I've been really exhausted. My daughter's teething. And I've just been, emotionally kind of going through it with accepting that the relationship is dead. And I've known it, but, I just went through a lot emotionally with this person. And it's a process. And I'm sharing that with you guys because I've seen so many women make a little bit of progress, and then, they find out something or whatever, and they just feel like, I can't do this. let me just go back to my abuser, let me just give up on love, let me just, whatever it is. And I don't want you guys to think that because it's difficult that it's worth giving up. I go to sleep at night now not afraid that someone's going to break in my window and hurt me, on drugs. And I know I am able to sleep because I'm not afraid someone's going to go and take my kids and disappear while I'm sleeping. Or, I'm not afraid that my vehicle's going to get wrecked. I'm not afraid that I'm going to wake up and all my money's going to be missing again. So I do not regret ending that relationship and trying to move on in my life. But like I said, it's human. It's a beautiful quality if you have compassion for the person that abused you. That's what makes you a good human being. That's why they picked you. And hopefully you decide, next time to love someone more wisely now that you know what the red flags are. A lot of my friends try to warn the new supply, and I think that can backfire because narcissists are very good at making their exes seem like the crazy ones. So I don't go that far as to contact anyone, but I definitely think that in due time, like, they want to contact me, and maybe I'll be willing to share some information. But I'm mostly trying to just focus on my life, my healing, and I wish the new supply the best. And for those of you that are heartbroken and think, oh, he or she's getting the best of my ex-partner, like, they're getting the same lie that you got. And then after that, they're going to have the same pain that you went through. And, hopefully not as bad. Hopefully they don't put in as long. But we can only deal with what we can deal with. We can only take care of what is ours to take care of, and that is our children and, our finances and our own mental health. So, I want you guys to continue to thrive and keep coming back to me, and we'll work through this together. And I really hope that you guys are reaching out to support groups like I've recommended, going to CODA, going to Al-Anon. I think both of those are .orgs, and just getting the support you need. I read that the first step in leaving a narcissistic abuse relationship was getting support, because you're going to need it. I love you guys, and I would love some suggestions on videos you would like to see in the future. If you have questions, leave it in the comments. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in to A Cinderella Story, Thriving with Codependency. Love you.